Vamshidhar Prabhu, you continue. You have some problem?
No, no, Prabhu. I don't have to share my screen or.
You continue without sharing screen. Give me 5 minutes. I'll share the
Okay,
screen.
okay. No problem, Prabhuji. I'll start.
Yeah, you continue. Start.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay.
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। So I will read the Bengali, and somebody can take turn to read the translation if it is possible. We're reading from Madhya Lila from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4, text 112 onwards. रेमुनाते कैला गोपीनाथ दर्शन, तांड्र रूप देखिया हैला विबल मन। Is anyone willing to read translation or should I read?
I can read.
Yes, yes.
Going into the South India, Sri Madhavendra Puri visited Remuna, where Gopinath is situated. Upon seeing the beauty of the deity, Madhavendra Puri was overwhelmed.
Text 113. नृत्य गीता करी जगा मोहने वशीला, क्या क्या भोग लागे ब्राह्मणे पूछिला।
In the corridor of the temple from which people generally viewed the deity, Madhavendra Puri chanted and danced. Then he sat down there and asked a Brahmana what kind of foods they offered to deity.
Text 114. सेवा रसौष्ठव देखी आनंदित मने, उत्तम भोग लागे ये तबुजी अनुमाने।
From the excellence of the arrangements, Madhavendra Puri understood by deduction that only the best foods was offered.
यायचे इहा भोग लागे सकल ई पूछीबा, ताचे बियाने भोग गोपाले लगाईबा।
Madhavendra Puri thought, I shall inquire from the priest what foods are offered to Gopinath, so that by making arrangements in our kitchen, we can offer similar foods to Sri Gopala.
एई लागी पूछी लेना ब्राह्मणे रस्ताने, ब्राह्मण कहिला सब भोग विवरणे।
When the Brahmana priest was questioned about this matter, he explained in detail what kinds of foods were offered to the deity of Gopinath. Someone else also can read.
Text 117. संध्याय भोग लागे क्षीर अमृत केली नाम, द्वादश अमृत पात्रे बरी अमृत सम।
You want me to continue or anyone
Yes,
is
yes.
speaking?
If anyone else is willing to read, it's okay, Mataji. Otherwise, please continue.
Okay. The Brahmana priest said, in the evening the deity is offered sweet rice in 12 earthen pots. Because the taste is as good as nectar, Amrita, it is named Amrakeli.
Yeah. Amrita Keli, man. Go
Amrakeli.
Amrita Keli. गोपीनाथे रशीर बली प्रसिद्ध नाम यार, प्रीति बीते आयचे भोग कहा नहीं यार।
This sweet rice is celebrated throughout the world as Gopinatha Kshira. It is not offered anywhere else in the world.
हेन काले से ही भोग ताकुरे लागिला, शूनी पूरी गोसाई खिचू मने विचारिला।
While Madhavendra Puri was talking with the Brahmana priest, the sweet rice was placed before the deity as an offering. Hearing this, Madhavendra Puri thought as follows.
Okay, just a summary as to what has happened so far. So what we saw from text 112 today is going into South India, Sri Madhavendra Puri visited Remuna, where Gopinath Krishna is situated. Upon seeing the beauty of Gopinath, Madhavendra Puri was overwhelmed with ecstasy. Sripad Madhavendra Puri is the root of Krishna consciousness, and it is explained in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that he is the one who inundated uh, the mood of ecstatic love, in from whom ecstatic love actually started in our sampradaya, in Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Srila Prabhupada explains this in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So as soon as he sees Gopinath deity, he goes into ecstasy. And in the corridor of the temple, from which people generally viewed the deity, Sripad Madhavendra Puri chanted and danced. Then he sat down there and asked a Brahmana what kind of foods they offered to the deity there. And he understood that only best foods were offered to Gopinath. I heard this from my spiritual master. He says that we should always try to offer the best and first class for Krishna. And Sripad Madhavendra Puri is teaching us that we should try to offer always whatever best is available to Krishna. So he wanted to inquire from the Brahmanas what kind of food is being arranged here for Gopinath here, so that he can offer similar foodstuffs for Sri Gopal in Vrindavan. And then when the Brahmana priest was thus questioned by Sripad Madhavendra Puri, he explained in detail what kind of foods were offered to the deity of Gopinath. So he started inquiring. And the Brahmana priest said, in the evening, 12 earthen pots of sweet rice, which is named Amrita Keli, is offered to Gopinath. And the priest says that nowhere else in this world that such a sweet rice is offered to Gopinath. Anywhere else in this world, we cannot experience that kind of Amrita Keli sweet rice anywhere else in this world. Text 119. Hena kale se boga takure lagila shuni puri gosai kichumane vicharila. Anyone else willing to read translation?
While Madhavendra Puri was talking with the Brahmana priest, the sweet rice was placed before the deity as an offering. Hearing this, Madhavendra Puri thought as follows.
Ayachita shira prasada alpa yadi pai swada jani taiche shira gopale lagai.
If without my asking a little sweet rice is given to me, I can then taste it and make a similar preparation to offer my Lord Gopala.
Ye chaya lajjapaya Vishnu smarana kaila hena kale boga sari arati bajila.
Madhavendra Puri became greatly ashamed when he desired to taste the sweet rice, and he immediately began to think of Lord Vishnu. While he was thus thinking of Lord Vishnu, the offering was completed and the Aarti ceremony began.
आरती देखिया पूरी खैला नमस्कार बाहिले आइला कारे किछु न कहिला आर.
After the Aarti was finished, Madhavendra Puri offered his obeisances to the deity and then left the temple. He did not say anything more to anyone.
So Sripad Madhavendra Puri, when he saw that the sweet rice was offered, he desired to taste the sweet rice while it was being offered. And immediately, this is a sign of a very advanced devotee, or here in, for instance, it's Sripad Madhavendra Puri. He immediately understood that he shouldn't have thought like that. And he immediately contemplated, and he said that the offering is still made. I shouldn't have thought like this. So what he did, as soon as the arati was performed to Gopinath, Sripad Madhavendra Puri offers obeisances to Gopal deity, Gopinath deity, and he leaves the temple. He did not say anything more to anyone. He just felt that it was not this. This is a sign of a very pure devotee, Mahabhagavat, their hearts are very soft. Their hearts are extremely soft, and they don't want to think anything ill even within their mind. So Sripad Madhavendra Puri thought that it was not appropriate for me to have thought like that. In text 123, Ayachita Vritta Vritti Puri Virakta Udas Ayachite Paila Kaya Nahe Upavas.
Madhavendra Puri avoided begging. He was completely unattached and indifferent to the material things. If without his begging someone offered him some food, he would eat, otherwise he would fast. Purport. This is the Paramhamsa stage, the highest stage of sannyasi. A sannyasi can beg from door to door just to collect the food, but a Paramhamsa who has taken Ayachita Vrati or Ajgara Vrati does not ask anyone for food. If someone offer him food voluntarily, he eats. Ayachita Vrati means being accustomed to refrain from begging, and Ajgara Vrati indicate one who is compared to a python, the big snake that makes no effort to acquire food but rather allow foods to come automatically within his mouth. In other words, a Paramhamsa simply engages exclusively in the service of the Lord without caring even for eating or sleeping. It was stated about the sixth Goswami, Nidraha Viharakadi Vijitau. In the Paramhamsa stage, one conquers the desire for sleep, food, and sense gratification. One remains a humble, meek mendicant engaged in the service of the Lord day and night. Madhavendra Puri had attained this Paramhamsa stage.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada is writing a very nice purport here. So Sripad Madhavendra Puri is at the highest stage of Paramahamsa. There are four stages of Paramahamsa. Srila Prabhupada explains in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and the highest stage is Paramahamsa stage of sannyas. Four stages of sannyas ashram is there. I don't remember the names. I think it's Kutichaki, Bahudaki, forgot the third one, and the fourth one is Paramahamsa stage. Where in the Paramahamsa stage, the sannyas has completely become perfect, liberated soul, and they just travel everywhere to preach the glories, like how Srila Prabhupada was in the Paramahamsa stage. They just travel everywhere to inspire everyone in Krishna consciousness, and they preach the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna consciousness. And Sripad Madhavendra Puri was in such a state. And Srila Prabhupada writes that a Paramahamsa goes door to door to beg food. And only they do not ask specifically, I want this or that. Whatever comes by Krishna's will, they take. And this is explained in the 11th canto that this is how a very advanced devotee actually lives in this world. They don't expect anything for their own sustenance or maintenance. They don't cook for themselves. Whatever comes by Krishna's grace, they accept. Uh, and Srila Prabhupada quotes Shad Goswami Ashtakam, Nidrahara Viharakadi Vijitau Chatyanta Dinau Chayo. So, in such a advanced stage, the Paramahamsa devotee is not controlled by the urges of the mind and the senses. They are beyond the mind and the senses. Like a practicing sadhaka like myself, I need to take prasadam at a certain time of the day. I need to take certain amount of sleep every day. But for a Paramahamsa, it is not like that. Srila Prabhupada slept hardly, we all are aware, right? He hardly slept for 1.5 hours to 2 hours every day. And then he was just engaged in the service of Krishna, remaining time. 22 hours he was engaged. Because Srila Prabhupada mentions that a humble, meek mendicant engaged in the service of the Lord day and night. And by doing this, their senses are automatically controlled by Krishna's grace. Krishna controls their senses because they are always engaged in the service of the Lord. So practical application is we cannot imitate Sripad Madhavendra Puri, but our stage as a practicing stage, we can simply stick to taking prasadam offered to Krishna. Text 124. Premamrite tripta shudha trishna nahi bade shira icha haila tahe mane aparade.
Prabhuji, screen sharing is on, so you can refer. Everybody can refer there also now.
Okay, Prabhuji. So
Uh,
someone else can read translation and purport too.
A Paramahamsa like Madhavendra Puri is always satisfied in the loving service of the Lord. Material hunger and thirst cannot impede his activities. When he decided to taste a little sweet rice offered to the deity, he considered that he had committed an offense by desiring to eat what was being offered to the deity. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is advisable that food being offered to the deity be covered when taken from the kitchen to the deity room. In that way, others may not see it. Those who are not accustomed to following the advanced regulative devotional principles may decide to eat the food, and that is an offense. Therefore, no one should be given a chance to even see it. However, when it is brought before the deity, it must be uncovered. Seeing the food uncovered before the deity, Madhavendra Puri decided to taste a little of it so that he could prepare a similar sweet rice for his Gopala. Madhavendra Puri was so strict, however, that he considered this to be an offense. Consequently, he left the temple without saying anything to anyone. The Paramahamsa is therefore called Vijita Sadguna. He must conquer the six material qualities Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Matsarya, and Shuddha Trishna. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, enviousness, and hunger and thirst.
Yeah, so in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that, as it is stated in the translation, that Sripad Madhavendra Puri thought that he had committed an offense because he saw that the sweet rice was being offered, but it was not covered. So he decided to taste it a little bit. But Sripad Madhavendra Puri's intention was not for his own gratification. He wanted to taste it so that he can make it for Sri Gopal. But Srila Prabhupada writes that because Sripad Madhavendra Puri was very strict, that's why Srila Prabhupada uses the word advanced in regulative devotional principles. So because Sripad Madhavendra Puri was very advanced, he just thought that it was not very right for me to think like that. So he immediately left the temple without saying anything to anyone. And again, Srila Prabhupada quotes that Sripad Madhavendra Puri had conquered all six material qualities of lust, anger, greed, illusion, envy, and hunger and thirst, because he was at the stage of Paramahamsa. Text 125. Gramera shunya te vasi kare na kirtana eta pujari karaila takure shayana.
Translation Madhavendra Puri left the temple and sat down in the village marketplace, which was vacant. Sitting there, he began to chant. In the meantime, the temple priest laid the deity down to rest. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Although Madhavendra Puri was not interested in eating and sleeping, his interest in chanting the Mahamantra was as acute as if he were an aspiring transcendentalist rather than a Paramahamsa. This means that even in the Paramahamsa stage, one cannot give up chanting. Haridasa Thakura and the Goswamis were all engaged in chanting a fixed number of rounds. Therefore, chanting on beats is very important for everyone. Even though one may become a Paramahamsa, this chanting can be executed anywhere, either inside or outside the temple. Madhavendra Puri even sat down in a vacant marketplace to perform his chanting. As stated by Srinivas Acharya in his prayers to the Goswamis, Namagana Natibihi. A Paramahamsa devotee is always engaged in chanting and rendering loving service to the Lord. Chanting the Lord's holy name and engaging in his service are identical. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23, there are 9 kinds of devotional service: hearing, Shravanam, chanting, Kirtanam, remembering, Vishnu Smaranam, serving, Pada Sevanam, worship of the deity, Archanam, praying, Vandanam, carrying out orders, Dasyam, serving him as a friend, Sakyam, and sacrificing everything for the Lord, Atma Nivedanam. Although each process appears distinct, when one is situated on the absolute platform, he can see that they are identical. For instance, hearing is as good as chanting, and remembering is as good as chanting or hearing. Similarly, engaging in deity worship is as good as chanting, hearing, or remembering. The devotee is expected to accept all 9 processes of devotional service, but even if only one process is properly executed, he can still attain the highest position, Paramahamsa, and go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So such an amazing purport Srila Prabhupada is writing here. So it is mentioned that as soon as Sripad Madhavendra Puri left to the temple, when he thought that it was not appropriate for him, he immediately sat down in a marketplace and started chanting. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that his interest in chanting the Mahamantra was as acute as if he were aspiring transcendentalist. Because we just read in the previous verses that Srila Madhavendra Puri was already at a Paramahamsa stage, and Srila Prabhupada writes that even though he was such a high state of realization, still he was chanting the holy names. Because Srila Prabhupada writes that I think in Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned or somewhere that even though somebody who is extremely high in realization, they still have to do the religious principles. And the religious principle for Kali Yuga is chanting the holy names of the Lord. And once somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, what is the goal of chanting Hare Krishna Mantra? Srila Prabhupada says that the goal of chanting Hare Krishna Mantra is to chant Hare Krishna Mantra eternally for us. So that is why Sripad Madhavendra Puri as an Acharya, he is showing us that how much attachment he had for chanting the holy names of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada writes, Srila Srinivas Acharya quotes in Sri Shadagoswami Ashtakam that Namagana Natibi, that one should chant a fixed number of rounds every day. Like for all of us, we should chant at least 16 rounds every day. And chanting the Lord's holy names and engaging in a service are identical. Because Krishna and his name are non-identical, and Srila Prabhupada quotes all the 9 processes of bhakti. And although each process appears distinct, when one is situated in the absolute platform, he can see that they are identical. But because we are in sadhaka stage at this point in time, we do not realize that chanting and all the other processes in the 9 limbs of bhakti are also identical, but we don't have the realization. So at this moment, because we don't have that realization, we must chant 16 rounds every day. We should chant. And by doing the chanting and then getting whatever other limbs we are able to do in a day, then gradually our heart gets purified. That is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Because at Prabhupada's stage, because Srila Prabhupada is a Paramahamsa, he is able to see that every limb is non-different. But at a sadhaka stage, we must chant every day. And that is what Sripad Madhavendra Puri is teaching us, that how much attachment he has to chanting the holy names of Krishna. Even Srila Prabhupada, when he was so busy in preaching and writing and translating Srimad Bhagavatam, so many videos are there on YouTube where Srila Prabhupada is always chanting the holy name. Whenever he gets a break, when he's in the airport, he's always on his beach. All the acharyas are giving us example that how much attachment they have to the holy name for chanting the holy name. So our sincere effort is to simply try to follow in their footsteps by chanting at least 16 rounds every day. And text 126, we'll finish with this, I hope. Nija kritya kari pujari kari la shayana swapane takura asi balila vachana.
Finishing his daily duties.
Yeah.
Finishing his daily duties, the priest went to take rest. In a dream, he saw the Gopinath deity come to talk to him, and he spoke as follows.
Uttaha pujari ka dwara vimochana shira eka rakiyachi sannyasi karana.
O priest, please get up and open the door of the temple. I have kept 1 pot of sweet rice for the sannyasi Madhavendra Puri.
Dadara anchale daka eka shira haya tomara na janila taha amara mayaya.
This pot of sweet rice is just behind my cloth curtain. You did not see it because of my tricks.
Madhava puri sannyasi ache hate tavasiya taha ke na tae shira shigra dehalaya.
A sannyasi named Madhavendra Puri is sitting in the vacant marketplace. Please take this pot of sweet rice from behind me and deliver it to him.
स्वप्न देखी पुजारी उठी करीला विचार स्नान करी कपाट खुली मुक्त कैल द्वार.
Awaking from the dream, the priest immediately rose from bed and thought it wise to take a bath before entering the deity's room. He then opened the temple door.
Dadaranchal tale paila se ikshira stanale pishira laya haila bahira.
According to the deity's directions, the priest found the pot of sweet rice behind the cloth curtain. He removed the pot and mopped up the place where it had been kept. He then went out of the temple.
So Gopinath comes in the dream of the Brahmana priest, and he says that he has kept one pot of sweet rice specifically for Shripad Madhavendra Puri. And the Brahmana priest, realizing that Gopinath has made such nice arrangements, before entering into the altar, he immediately goes and takes bath. And so Srila Prabhupada mentions that one of the qualities that we need to aspire to develop is cleanliness. And the Brahmana is teaching us that even though it was such an urgent situation and it was and it was untime, he was still following the uh, quality of being clean before entering into the altar to go and see if Gopinath has really kept the sweet rice behind the cloth curtain. And he really got and mopped it up, the place where it had been kept, and then he went out of the temple. We'll just finish one more, just 1 minute. Dwaradiya grame gela sei shiralaya hate hate bule madhava puri ke chahiya.
Closing the door of the temple, he went to the village with the pot of sweet rice. He called out in every stall in search of Madhavendra Puri.
So the Brahmana priest goes out of the temple and he starts to search for Shripad Madhavendra Puri. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. We can end, right?
Sure, Prabhuji, sure. Thank you so much. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
Thank you so
ki
much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.